Aside is when one character, the main character usually, can talk to the audience and explain what's happening and break the fourth wall, but the other characters don't know that. Kind of like in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where he would update and talk about what was happening, but of course the other characters didn't know. Atmosphere is how the reader feels, what the emotions that they feel, from how the writer portrayed the mood, which is the details they used in the events, characters, and setting. Comedy is when there's a character and they're living a prosperous life, all good, and then they run into some challenges, and there's new experiences that they're not used to, and then they have to learn something about themselves, and it usually ends with a romantic or satisfying and prosperous ending, like in Big Daddy by Adam Sandler, where there's a man and he's in a relationship and he's living his life. It's not necessarily a good one, but it's a happy one, and then his girlfriend breaks up with him and a little boy enters his life, and it comes with all new challenges, but it ends romantic, and it ends with that little boy having a great relationship with Adam Sandler's character. Foil is when there's a character that is opposite to the main character, getting in the way of the goals of him or her, and adding tension and conflict throughout the story. Like in Harry Potter, where Voldemort and Harry are each other's foils. Adding conflict and tension. Foreshadowing is when you use moments leading up and building to a bigger moment. Foreshadowing uses suspense to keep the audience intrigued. Like if you were to watch someone falling and then someone catches them and it zooms in on their hands and the other hand slips and you watch them fall once again. Irony. There are two main types of irony. One of them is verbal irony and the other is dramatic irony. Verbal irony is like if I were to point out a dirty car and said, that car could win Cleanest Car Award. That's irony because it's pointing out that car. It's describing it as the polar opposite, drawing attention to how actually dirty the car is. Dramatic irony is a little different. It's when the audience sees everything that's happening. Kind of like in Emperor's New Groove, where Yzma, she made a potion to turn Kuzco into a llama because he wasn't being the good emperor she thought she could be, and she gave it to him, and only the audience saw that happen. A monologue is a long speech that a character makes that reveals their inner thoughts and feelings, and they usually tell a story. It'll change the later events and the direction of where the story goes. It'll also change how the character is perceived and how they are treated throughout the play, movie, or story. For example, in Princess Diaries, Mia goes to her coronation ball and she makes a speech apologizing to her friends and family, and it changes how she is thought of by her peers and how the direction of the story goes from there. Satire is a piece that mocks or points out the irony, verbal irony, in society's laws and morals. An example of satire is Bad Moms, where she is expected to do all this stuff for her community and her family and her work, but without any praise or thanks, and everyone just expects her to be able to do that totally fine, easy peasy, and sometimes they don't even realize she does it. So it's pointing out the irony and the misconception that moms can just do everything and that's what they have to do. Suspense is used to intrigue the audience using other dramatic devices like dramatic irony and foreshadowing. Suspense is also used to direct the story to the ending theme and plot, like in a horror movie where they use foreshadowing to build up and show moments until a jump scare. or to progress the story to keep it interesting. Tragedy is when there is good fortune for the heroine of the story, but by the end, their good fortune has been reversed. Often, tragedy goes hand in hand with a strong theme, like the dangers of greed and the punishment of spreading lies. Like in Mean Girls 2, where Johanna was hanging out with Abby, and Abby's father was paying Johanna. When Abby found out, she was very hurt, and she dissed Johanna.